When this entitled mayor's wife walked in thinking her husband's political position made her untouchable, she made the catastrophic mistake of threatening a sitting judge. What happened next would not only destroy her arrogance, but end her husband's political career and create the most legendary corruption scandal in Providence history. This story shows us what happens when political privilege meets judicial authority, when someone mistakes their spouse's elected position for unlimited power, and when a mayor's wife discovers that threatening a judge is the fastest way to destroy everything her husband has worked for in politics. But before we dive into this incredible political meltdown, less than 1% of you watching are actually subscribed. So please hit that subscribe button, because this story about political corruption and the consequences of threatening judicial authority deserves to reach everyone who needs to understand that no political position is above the law. It's a tense Wednesday morning in March, and Providence Municipal Court is handling its usual docket of traffic violations and municipal infractions. The early spring air carries a sense of renewal, but inside the courtroom, the atmosphere is about to become charged with political electricity. At exactly 10:30 a.m., the courtroom doors swing open with dramatic flair, and through them strides Vicky Romano, the 45-year-old wife of Providence Mayor Anthony Romano. Vicky moves with the kind of imperious confidence that comes from years of believing that her husband's political position grants her immunity from the rules that govern ordinary citizens. She's dressed in an expensive designer suit that probably costs more than most people's monthly salary. Her jewelry catches the courtroom lights with obvious intent, and her entire demeanor radiates the superiority complex that develops when someone has never been told no by anyone who matters. Vicky is here because 3 weeks ago she received a citation for parking in a fire lane outside the exclusive waterfront bistro during a political fundraiser. The violation occurred while she was attending a $1,000 per plate dinner for her husband's re-election campaign. The fine is standard, $200 then plus court costs. But Vicky isn't here to pay anything. She's here because she believes her status as the mayor's wife should exempt her from what she considers petty municipal enforcement that doesn't apply to political families. What Vicky doesn't realize is that she's about to challenge a judge who has been independent of political influence for 35 years, and who has zero tolerance for politicians or their families who think elected office grants them special legal privileges. As Vicky approaches the defendant's stand, her body language immediately establishes a confrontational tone. She doesn't show any humility, keeps checking her expensive watch as if this proceeding is beneath her valuable time, and maintains the posture of someone who believes she's doing the court a favor by appearing at all. Victoria Romano, the court clerk announces, reading from the docket. Vicky steps forward with obvious impatience, her political connections prominently displayed through her bearing, and her assumption that everyone in the courtroom knows exactly who she is and why she matters. Judge Caprio looks up from his paperwork with the experienced eye of someone who has dealt with every form of political arrogance imaginable, including politicians' spouses who confuse their marital status with legal immunity. Mrs. Romano, Judge Caprio begins, his voice carrying the measured authority of 35 years of judicial independence from political pressure. You're charged with parking in a designated fire lane in violation of City Ordinance 15-8. This violation occurred on March 2nd at 7:45 p.m. outside the waterfront bistro. How do you plead? Vicky's response immediately signals that this case will become a political showdown unlike anything the courtroom has seen before. Your Honor, Vicky says, her voice dripping with political condescension and barely concealed irritation, I'm pleading not guilty because this citation represents a fundamental misunderstanding of the practical realities of municipal governance and the operational necessities of political leadership. Judge Caprio sets down his pen, never a positive sign for defendants who think they can lecture him about municipal governance. Mrs. Romano, were you attending a municipal function or conducting official city business at the time of the violation? Your Honor, I was attending a political fundraiser for my husband's re-election campaign. As the mayor's wife, my attendance at such events is essential for effective municipal leadership and community engagement. The courtroom becomes very quiet. Vicky has just claimed that her husband's political campaign activities should exempt her from fire safety regulations. Mrs. Romano, do you hold any elected office or official position with the City of Providence? Vicky's irritation becomes visible as she realizes she's being pressed for specifics about her actual authority. Your Honor, as the mayor's wife, I serve in an unofficial but vital capacity supporting municipal governance and representing the city at important community events. Judge Caprio's expression doesn't change, but veteran court watchers recognize the signs of a judge who is about to deliver a civic education about the difference between political influence and legal authority. Mrs. Romano, can you cite the specific municipal code or state statute that exempts mayor's spouses from fire safety regulations? Vicky pauses, clearly not having expected to be challenged on legal specifics by a municipal court judge. Your Honor, I think you're missing the larger picture of how municipal leadership actually functions in practice. The silence that follows is deafening. Vicky has just suggested that Judge Caprio doesn't understand how municipal government works. But Vicky isn't finished making the biggest mistake of her political life. Your Honor, Vicky continues, her voice taking on the tone of someone explaining obvious facts to someone who clearly doesn't get it. I've been involved in Providence politics for 15 years as the mayor's wife. I think I understand how municipal authority and civic leadership work better than someone who sits in a courtroom all day, dealing with minor infractions. The courtroom erupts in shocked murmurs. Vicky has just insulted Judge Caprio's understanding of municipal governance and suggested that political social status is superior to judicial authority. What happens next is even more explosive. Vicky looks directly at Judge Caprio with undisguised political arrogance. Your Honor, I think you need to consider the practical implications of this situation. My husband is the mayor of this city. He appoints members to various municipal boards and commissions. The city's budget affects court funding. I suggest you think carefully about how you handle this case. Vicky has just threatened a sitting judge with political retaliation. She has crossed a line that will not only destroy her husband's career, but create the biggest political scandal in Providence history. What Judge Caprio does next will systematically demolish Vicky's political arrogance and potentially end Mayor Romano's political future forever. Judge Caprio slowly stands up from his bench, an unprecedented gesture that signals something monumental is about to happen. He removes his glasses with deliberate precision and looks directly at Vicky with the calm, measured expression of someone who is about to deliver the political education of a lifetime. Mrs. Romano, Judge Caprio says, his voice remaining perfectly controlled but carrying the full weight of judicial independence. Did you just threaten this court with political retaliation? Vicky, still emboldened by what she mistakes for judicial uncertainty, doubles down on her political intimidation attempt. Your Honor, I'm simply pointing out the realities of how municipal governance operates. Political leaders have responsibilities and